Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another live video update. Tonight I'm going to be talking to you about how you're all being lied to and deceived. Now, the number one story at the moment is all these Black Lives Matter protests that are going on around the country, in fact, going on around the world. Now, the problem is that neither the government nor the media gives a damn about black lives. What they care about is this divide and conquer strategy. They want you fighting amongst yourselves. Okay, they couldn't care less about black lives or anything else. The last thing that they want is people uniting together as a unified force. What they want is people arguing and fighting amongst themselves, blacks and whites or whatever. But guess what? We all bleed the same colour blood. We've all got the same skeletons underneath. Okay, forget about the Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. I've spoken about this on other videos. You know, here we are locking down the entire country to save a few lives of elderly people with underlying conditions, yet how many people have actually committed suicide instead? Okay, all lives matter, not just black lives. Now, again, I know there's a lot of advanced members out there watching this and they've sent through posts on Facebook and comments about the conspiracy behind George Floyd and all the rest of it. And if you want to look those up, absolutely, by all means, go and have a look at, you know, maybe what's really going on behind the scenes. But even the most superficial level, even for absolute beginners, okay, you can clearly see this just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. How is it that hundreds of people are allowed to gather at the funeral for George Floyd, but everyone else can only have 5 people at their funerals? Okay, it doesn't make sense. How is it, okay, that they can be arresting people left, right and centre at the protests that have gone on the last few weeks when people were protesting the mandatory vaccinations and the unlawful lockdown laws, yet, oh no, you want to go out and protest Black Lives Matter and divide your feelings and frustrations? Yeah, great, absolutely, go out and do it. Okay? I mean, it just makes no sense. How is it that in South Australia they can grant an exemption for everybody to attend these protests? Okay, that's fine. But in New South Wales, the court ruled, no, you actually can't go out and protest. Now, of course, that ruling got overturned at the last minute at the Court of Appeal. But, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. People still don't understand. Okay, Section 117 of the Commonwealth Constitution is very clear. It says that a subject of the Crown resident in one state cannot be discriminated against because he or she lives in that state instead of some other state. So if you're in South Australia, well, great, you could go out and protest, but at that moment in time, yes, it got overturned, but at that moment in time, if you lived in New South Wales, they said you couldn't. You were being discriminated against. And people just don't understand, this basic level of deception. And of course, it gets so much worse. I mean, people are worried. They're being told, you've got to download this COVID safe app. Okay, you have to. You're not going to be able to go out and do things. You're not going to be able to go shopping. You're not going to be able to go to restaurants and stuff if you don't have the COVID safe app. But they haven't bothered looking because their own legislation tells them that is not the case. Okay, now this is Part A, the Public Health Contact Information section of the Privacy Act 1988. You can go online, search it up, and you'll see it. Now, I'm not going to run through the whole thing, but it says requiring the use of COVID safe. This is section 94H. Person commits an offence if the person requires another person to download COVID safe to a communication device or have COVID safe in operation on a communication device. Person commits an offence if the person refuses to enter into or continue a contract or agreement with another person or takes adverse action within the meaning of the Fair Work Act 2009 against another person or refuses to allow another person access to a premises, blah, 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 because on the grounds that they haven't downloaded the COVID Safe app. Their own legislation says you don't have to. It's just a suggestion. Okay, people are freaking out because they're going to restaurants and cafes and they're asking, for their name and phone number. Okay, again, it's not a mandatory requirement. It's just a suggestion, okay? These businesses are required to have health safety plans, and one of the suggestions that makes up that plan is for you to get the customers' names and phone numbers. But there's no legal requirement for people to do that. Okay, I just came back from dinner just tonight. There was no requirement to give over any names or phone numbers. Okay, so you've got to know what the law does and does not say. Okay, and while everybody's out on the streets mass protest Black Lives, they're not sitting around learning about their rights, which of course is exactly what they should be doing. Okay, and this again is why the government wants people out there protesting on the whole divide and conquer against your fellow man, not banding together, okay, protesting against the illegal things that they are doing, the unlawful things that our own government is doing to its own people, eroding their rights on a daily basis. Okay, man, the authorities are tricking people and deceiving people left, right, and centre, and most people are too brainwashed to even see it, or worse still, they're so brainwashed that they don't even want to look in case they might see something that they don't like. I mean, we get bombarded with this whole speed kills garbage, yet it's only a factor in 5% of accidents. Not even the factor, just a factor in 5% of accidents. That's it. Okay, we're told that speed cameras save lives, yet in most states they issue more fines, more traffic fines every year than they did the year before, and yet the road toll keeps going up. Does this make sense to anybody? Okay, we're told that laser guns and radar guns are accurate scientific instruments, and if you've been detected by one of those, there's no way you can challenge it. Yet the manufacturers of these devices themselves, okay, now this all comes out of that Aussie speeding fines book, and there's a link in the description. But I mean, this is what the manufacturers say. Okay, there are many forms of interference that may affect the radar instrument. However, they are too numerous to mention. Okay, this is just one page out of this ASF book. Okay, the first source of interference, because there's too many to mention, harmonics, refers to radar's tendency occasionally to process the wrong radio frequency. Yet the authorities are telling you that these are accurate scientific devices. You want to find out some of the other rubbish that you've blindly believed in? Okay, grab this Aussie speeding fines book. Every motorist in this country should have one. Hands down, it is by far and away the best motoring investment you will ever make. It's the best motoring insurance you'll ever get, trust me. Okay, but I mean, that's just some ideas of how we're being tricked and deceived. Okay, the banks, now they tell us all kinds of stories about where the money comes from your home loan, but what they don't tell you is they actually commit fraud every single time they engage in a home loan. And most people have got no idea. Debt collectors, okay, they're wonderful because they contact you and they go, listen, you had this debt with, CBA, ANZ, whatever. Listen, don't worry, we know it was a huge amount, but we're going to give you a reduced payment. Okay, you only have to pay 40% or 50% or something like that. But what they don't tell you, okay, is that they bought that debt from the banks, okay, for cents in the dollar. Okay, and therefore any amount you pay them over that is classified as unjust enrichment. All right, most people never even heard of these terms. Now, what makes it even worse is the banks accepted those lower payments. They wrote off the bad debts and they count them as a loss, which they then put into their tax returns. Okay, so by you paying anything more than what the debt collector paid for it, you are a party to the debt collectors and the banks engaging in a conspiracy to commit tax fraud. Okay? Again, people don't realise this stuff because it's certainly not taught in schools, but it is taught and it is explained in detail in this Bank Secrets Revealed ebook. Okay, again, if you've got credit card debt, personal loans, you've got a mortgage, you deal with banks, debt collectors in any way, shape or form, grab a copy of this book. Okay, again, there's links in the description. All right, so I mean, this is the stuff that's happening every day. Okay, authorities will tell you, as will plenty of people on Facebook as well, don't worry, okay, that local governments, local councils are not mentioned in the Commonwealth Constitution. Now, that's completely incorrect. Okay, the Quick-and-Garran annotated Constitution makes it very clear, this is the authority on the Constitution, it's used in the courts all the time, makes it very clear that local councils, local government are a department of a state. They're a department of a state. Now that means they can't make bylaws, okay, as well as a bunch of other things. Seriously, this is the founding law in this country, the Commonwealth Constitution. Most people have never even given it a cursory look. We've got a fully indexed version of the full Quick-and-Garran annotated Constitution on CD. Very easy to search for a specific topic or phrase that you're looking for and see what the framers of the Constitution, okay, those that created the fundamental law in this land, had to say about that. It's also got Thy Will Be Done by Arthur Cresby. There's a copy of that on there as well. This is essential reading for everybody in this country. Don't worry about getting out and pounding the streets and Black Lives Matter. What matters is the Commonwealth Constitution, the highest law in this land. That's what matters. Okay, because our politicians know that most people haven't got a clue what it is and know nothing about it. And so they're never going to hold them to account. And this is the key for the moment. Okay, the authorities will tell you that you have to do something or not do something because it's the law. Okay, but what they don't tell you is the difference between a lawfully enacted law and one that's not lawfully enacted. They don't tell you that they're operating under this colour of law. Okay, they don't tell you that they trace everything back since 1973 to this purported Queen of Australia that doesn't exist, rather than the true Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, as is clearly defined in the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1900 UK. Okay, they sure as hell don't tell you the process that we tell you, which is how you can find out if a law has been lawfully enacted or not. This is vital information that people need to know. Okay, so this is all covered in our Know Your Rights book. As it says, the step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. This is the stuff people need to get their head around. So again, going back to these Black Lives Matter protests, okay, doesn't it seem strange to anybody that just a few weeks ago it was, no, you're going to get arrested if you're going to, be protesting the lockdown laws, but now they want you out there. Okay, again, they want to divide and conquer, because while you're out there, you're not researching this stuff. You're not learning about your rights, and you're certainly not holding those in power to account. Now, this is such a key. Plenty of people have grabbed our books, they've read our website, they've researched their information, they're sending off my will letters, which is fantastic. People are sending off freedom of information requests, which is great, but it's still only a very small percentage of the population. How is it that we can only get 1,000 or so people together to protest lockdown laws, which affects everybody, okay? Yet we can get 30,000 people, I think it was in Brisbane, to pound the streets and protest over one man who died in another country halfway around the world. Okay? Because this is what the media is telling you to do. They don't want you to get fired up about the lockdown laws. They don't want you to get fired up about 5G or mandatory vaccinations. They want you to get fired up about something that is not going to change anything, and it's just going to be a waste of energy. It's going to divide people, split people up, and stop them from going out and learning about their rights. Okay? Our slogan, you can see it here, those who don't know their rights have none. But equally, those who don't know what the problems are can't do anything to fix them. Those who don't know why their elected representatives are doing something wrong can't hold them to account for doing that. Okay, one of the biggest bits of feedback that we get, the most regular bits of feedback that we get on this book, people say in one form or another, they go, wow, I knew things were bad, I just didn't know that they were that bad. It's been really eye-opening. Okay, in fact, it is so eye-opening that we guarantee it. Okay, so have a look on our site. All right, we are winding down a long weekend, so please use this time wisely. As I say at the end of all these videos now, use it to get informed, use it to get fired up, and use it to get proactive. Learn about your rights and then start taking action to stand up and exercise them. So I'm going to leave you with that. We've got another exciting show coming up on Tuesday night from 8 to 10 p.m. You'll find that on our radio show page on our website. Be sure to tune in for that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the remainder of your long weekend. See you later.